Folks, welcome to Bear Mountain. This week we're working on planting our scented geraniums. Now you may remember we did a video a few weeks back, probably about a month and a half ago now, maybe not even quite that long, where we took cuttings off of some overwintered scented geraniums, a Lady Plymouth and an Atara rose, and then also one thing called autumn chocolate. The Atara rose and the Lady Plymouths are ready for transplant, so they're already rooted up. And so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be putting them in the ground. And I kind of wanted to show you guys the plants and then kind of how we're going to be laying things out. We've already prepped a bed for it. It's got compost in it, and it's been a little bit wetted down to help for transplant shock. The plants have already been treated and they're ready to slip out of the pots and put in the ground. I'm not really sure how good the root systems are developed at this point. I'm kind of thinking that they're going to be not pot bound, but they're going to be kind of reaching towards the bottom of the pot, but still a lot more room to grow. The reason why I'm taking them now is because the plants are showing signs of actually growing. And so we're going to be putting those guys in the ground, and I think it's probably just time to do it. Okay, so here we are. These are the new cuttings, and I don't really see many roots down in the bottom of the plant, so I'm kind of thinking that it's going to be a little bit spotty in terms of how full these guys are in the pots. They're definitely going to need to be fertilized more. They're a little bit on the yellow side. I think some higher nitrogen JLF is probably going to be in the works, and you guys all know what that means. And so we're going to be putting these guys in a spacing. I want to put them in 2 rows because I'm going to be running drip tape down this bed. I'm going to be putting 4 lines on this bed because it's a pretty wide bed, and I want to be able to have control where I can water the outside of the beds as well as the inside. So what I'm going to be trying to do is think about spacing these guys. Probably see if I can get this in the picture here. I'm going to try to put them on a staggered basis, but the idea is I'm going to be putting them to the outside thirds of the bed, and so the inside they would grow into it. So I'll have a drip line running here and a drip line running on the outside. Same thing here. And then a drip line on the outside. So the plants are going to be actually in between the 2 drip lines. Now these plants can get fairly large, and I'll show you some pictures in it. They'll be in the video. And so I've got 18 of them here that I'm going to be putting in, and I'm going to plant them fairly intense, so roughly about 18 inches apart. And the idea is that they will grow together. I'm going to be treating these guys as an annual. Trying to keep them overwintered is always kind of a hit or miss thing, depending on how cold our winters get. And so that's always going to be kind of a crapshoot. So I'm going to treat them, like I said, like a crop that is going to not make it. And so I'll be doing cuttings on these guys probably in early October. I'm going to plant these guys, I think, just a little bit further apart, although I do have to leave some room. I'm thinking that seems about right. And what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to leave room near the end of the bed for my autumn chocolates. Those guys are going to be coming along in a couple of weeks. And so I've got, let's see, 3, 7, I have 8 Atara roses, and I've got 10 of the Lady Plymouths. I really like the Lady Plymouth because it really has a nice, strong, upright type of look to it, and the variegated leaves really make a nice, give it a nice look when we're doing floral arrangements. So you get the picture of how I'm laying them out. And so before we just lay out the rest of them, I'll just plant a couple here so you can kind of get an idea. We can see what the roots look like. Going to be using my handy dandy Hori Hori knife. Now the soil is not super wet, but it is damp. And what I'm going to do afterwards here is I will come back and give it a really heavy watering and a fertilization probably this weekend. Okay, so I'm looking at this. It slipped right out of the pot. I don't see any roots at all, which is interesting, but I know it's got roots because it actually put out a leaf. So I'm going to kind of hold it together here. The potting mix isn't falling apart, so I'm thinking it's got more roots in it than probably we let on. The thing I kind of like about a Tara Rose is it has a really nice fragrance to it. It's very light and a little bit of spice to it, but not too much. And it the texture on the leaves is really nice. Now you can kind of see this one, it's got roots. I've got roots coming out the bottom. So I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but they are definitely there. And so the potting mix again is holding together. So I'm just going to slip that right in the hole and we plant right up to the base of the plant itself. And that is all there is to it. We just got to get them all in. So we got them all in and we got them watered, and you can kind of see that's the nice line. Now this is 18 plants and I've got about 4 more that are the autumn chocolate, and they'll go right on the end where you can kind of see the hose wand is laying. They've all been puddled in nicely. Next step is this weekend I'll be fertilizing them. I got to fertilize a lot of things this weekend, so they'll just be part of the rotation. Now these guys are pretty carefree. I really have very low insect damage on these guys. Slugs don't seem to bother them, and I don't really get cucumber beetles or anything like that. Once these guys get rocking and rolling, which they'll probably adapt to pretty quick here, they're really pretty carefree. The whole thing about them is keep them pruned up, otherwise they will get pretty wild. I'll show you again some pictures of previous years raising them in the tunnels. You get very nice long stems on these guys, and we're talking 18-inch stems with nice leaf patterns, and so they really work well in cut flower arrangements. So it's just a kind of a side note here. I wanted to show you guys, these are the potatoes that started about 2 months ago. It's not quite 2 months yet. These were from Johnny's. The first one you got right here are Red Norlands in the front. And you'll notice that these guys are, if you look at that hoop is about 2.5 feet tall. So these guys have already been hilled up. I put extra dirt around the base of the plants, and they're doing really well here in the tunnel. So this first group, like I said, are Red Norlands. You can kind of see the leaves are a little skinnier. They got maybe a few more leaflets on them, a little bit lighter green. And then when I walk down here, the next group, which is a little smaller, not quite as tall as the Red Norlands, these are Yukon Golds, and the leaves are a little shinier. You kind of notice that the plants are a little more stocky, and that these guys are doing really good here too. And then the last group right here, you can kind of start to see where it starts to change right here and back. I've got a mixed variety of things. Some of them are russets, some of them are not Yukon Golds, but they're German butterball, and it's just kind of a general mix. And these guys are doing really well. As you can kind of see, my delphinium are kind of finished for the season. Sweet peas are kind of winding down a little bit back there too. I'm gonna need to pick some more of those guys. And anyway, they're doing really well. Strawberries are still struggling. I don't know exactly why. Some of the plants have come out of being munched on by the deer, but some of them are still struggling. So we'll just keep on the fertilizer, but you can kind of see we're getting all kinds of new runners going. So hopefully, this thing will pull itself out. The outside bed is, they were just volunteer potatoes in there. I haven't got anything planted in there yet. but I'm going to be putting my later summer stuff in there, probably some beans. And so it's just a matter of kind of getting that cleaned out and getting it worked on. So that's it, folks, for this week. Not much, in terms of, a thrilling video. But the fertilization I'm going to use on them is going to be the same thing I'm using for the mums. I'm going to up the nitrogen a bit because these guys look like they need some until they start to really green up, and then I'll back off on the nitrogen. I think in general, we'll be harvesting off of these guys. Probably we're going to be talking about August, being today's the 5th of June, and that'd be about right. So we'll be harvesting probably, like I said, about early August all the way into frost. So these guys actually are hardy enough that I've cut scented geranium for greens for bouquets all the way to Thanksgiving sometimes. It just depends on when we finally get our really, really cold nighttime temps. What more affects these things than anything else is when you get near the end of the season and the day length is shortening, they just don't grow as fast. So the key to it is getting them established now. The rest of June and into July is a good growing 2 months, and you'll be surprised how these little plants are just going to be huge. So anyway, folks, take care, and we'll see you again next week. And thanks for watching the videos. Again, if you want to see the video we did on taking the cuttings, I'll put a link here at the end of this video, and you can kind of go take a look at it. These were easy to start, and they're essentially, if you've got a good mother plant, they're free. So anyway, take care. See you next week. Bye-bye.